Welcome to Nebraska FARMcast from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's Center for Agricultural Profitability. I'm Ryan Evans, and on this episode, I'm glad to be joined again by Randy Sainer, a Nebraska Extension Livestock Systems Educator and Program Leader, to discuss strategies for managing bull costs and maximizing herd profitability. With rising cattle prices, producers are facing tough decisions about how much to invest in their bulls and how those choices affect their bottom line. Randy has written a new article up on our Center for Ag Profitability website at cap.unl.edu, and in it, he breaks down the financial impact of bull prices, cost-saving strategies, and tools that producers can use to make informed decisions. And again, glad to have him joining me so we can hear about that now. Hey, Randy, thanks again for being here. So bull prices, they've been climbing, and producers are facing some difficult decisions about their investments. So what are some key financial considerations right now when determining what the right price is to pay for a bull?
So there's several, some of the things are going to be, yeah, calves are higher, but again, a higher price bull, you have higher priced calves because that cost goes back on each cow that you breed. So comparing the bulls to see what they add. So if you're buying a higher price bull, is that bull going to increase your weaning weights? Is it going to improve your carcass quality? Is it going to keep your cows in the herd longer if you're a cow-calf guy, meaning they have more longevity? And so those are all things you got to consider. And like weaning weights, we've not seen a lot of increase in weaning weights in probably the last 20 years. Part of the problem is that the cows just can't get enough quality nutrition or enough extra nutrition to put more milk and to get those calves bigger. So that may not be one thing I would look at. But longevity of the cow herd is really economically important especially in a ranching operation. Now, growth of a calf and how it marbles and stuff is really important to the feeder. So putting some of those things in there might make your calves bring more if you're a rancher, or if you're finishing them all the way out, you can improve your bottom line by selecting for some of those. How much you can spend is the question, right? And I looked at a $7,000 versus a $9,000 bull, just selling those calves at the market, and it took me it cost me about $4,000 on a 300 cow herd to do an extra cost to buy that bull for going from 7,000 to 9,000. There's a lot of bulls going over 9,000. So you need to think about that. Now, if that is just keeping everything neutral and that's using the price of calves today, okay? But if you get cattle that are higher grading and you get higher profit from that, if you're selling them at the feed yard, it's probably, maybe worth it. But you need to put that value in there, and that's what this bull calculator helps us do.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we'll get to the bull value calculator tool in a moment. And readers, again, you can check out the example that Randy just mentioned. He compared higher priced bulls and lower priced bulls and the returns on those in his article, which you can find at cap.unl.edu, and as well as the description in this podcast, the notes for the podcast. And another strategy you highlight, Randy, is reducing the number of bulls needed by using artificial insemination. So how can producers integrate AI into their operations, and what might some potential savings be?
So when if we time breed AI so that we can breed all the cows 1 or 2 days, that just takes the labor from heat checking, right? And then because you're going to get 40%, 50% bred, depending on the herd, that means you don't need as many bulls, right? Because you've already got almost half of those cows bred, so you can get by with reduced number of bulls. So AI would be one thing that maybe could really benefit you, especially if you're having to buy higher priced bulls, and the semen you could buy is pretty reasonable. But remember, there's cost with that. It's about $40, $50, depending on by the time you get the injections, set them up for AI and the semen, if you don't buy a real high quality bull. I mean, you can still buy a good bull for probably $50 with all those things included. You could also spend more money if you wanted to. you could collect the bull you bought that's high priced. The challenge I say with that is if it's a young yearling bull, it's kind of unproven, and I don't know if I would want to AI 100 cows to a young bull that's unproven. And so that's a thing you might want to think about. Instead of doing it maybe the first year, if the bull turns out really good, then you might collect him and do that in later years. But using an unproven bull may not be your best answer. But you could buy semen from an AI company, and then you can buy less bulls too, or from a breeder also.
Mhm. So you're talking about perhaps increasing the cows to bull ratio there, right? Are there other considerations, whether you're using AI or not, if producers are considering changing that ratio?
Yeah, so if you go from 24 cows to 48 cows per bull, um, you could about cut that cost per cow in half. Now, if you put one bull with that many cows, you better hope he's a good breeder and those kind of things, and that's the challenges you take. But that's one way. Or another option would be to if you have a spring calving and a fall calving herd, you divide that bull in half. So I mean, he gets way more cows that way, and that's another way you can reduce the cost. Is if you have two herds, you use him twice a year, and so you're putting him on more cows. But some people will go with a larger number of cows. The big thing you got to watch is make sure that if he's by himself, you check him out because if he gets hurt, you're not going to get those cows bred. And it may stretch the time of calving out a little bit if the bull gets overworked. So those are things to think about.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned the bull value calculator tool, which is available from Nebraska Extension. It's on our Center for Ag Profitability website. It's linked to in your article. If listeners are listening to this here as it's released in the second week of March, you'll be part of a webinar, leading a webinar on the bull value calculator tool. That's scheduled for March 20th, Thursday, March 20th at noon Central, and you can sign up on the Center for Ag Profitability's website at cap.unl.edu. But just to talk about the tool, because you do discuss it in your article and paint a great picture with some great examples. So it's a tool that you mentioned helps producers evaluate bull costs. It's an Excel tool. If you can just explain how it works and how it can help producers to make those more informed purchasing decisions.
Right. So you can put in what it takes to take care of a bull. You can put in what your bull value is when you call it, and then what your price is. And you can try different prices and see how that affects your cost per bull or your cost per cow. I'm sorry. And so what you do is and then you can estimate the weaning cost per weaned calf. And then if there's an added value, so let's say that you get a higher weaning weight, then you can put that in there, and then that'll tell you if paying that extra money for that bull is really worth it or not, because you're going to have to get so much more, right, to really pay for that extra value and that the cost in that bull. And when I did that, like I said, that 350 cow herd, which was or 300 cow herd, which was one that we have on the website there for Southwest. I use Southwest Nebraska because that's where I'm at, and that's where I figured those figures from. But you can put all that in this calculator, and it'll come out. And the nice thing is, if you want to just keep everything the same and see how price affects your cost per cow, you can do that also. And I did that, and I've got a couple tables on that. But price per bull, as you get from 7,000, which was about 85.23 per wean calf, up to $16,000 bulls, and I've seen several of those sell. You're talking $214. So almost double what it costs for the 7,000. So either that bull's got to get you more, do better for you or something. So you want to think about that when you're buying it. And that the calculator will do that for you.
So then the big question for you is, what is the right price for a bull?
So that depends on genetic value. Does the bull bring strong genetics to the herd? The herd objectives. Will the bull help meet the long-term goals of your operation? The calf marketing potential. Will the bull improve marketability of your calves and the longevity? Will the bull help improve the overall longevity of your herd? By understanding the long-term impacts of the bull, pricing and utilization tools like the bull calculator, producers can make smarter purchasing decisions and reduce the financial strain that comes with higher price bulls.
Thanks, Randy. And a reminder again, you can catch Randy and his extension colleagues presenting a webinar for the Center for Ag Profitability on using the bull value calculator to determine herd profitability. That's on March 20th, 2025 at noon Central Time. Sign up at cap.unl.edu. We've been talking to Randy Sainer, Livestock System Educator and Program Leader with Nebraska Extension, and you can find his new article on understanding bull costs and maximizing profitability at cap.unl.edu. Randy, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, Ryan.
Nebraska FARMcast is a production of the Center for Agricultural Profitability at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. For the latest research-based information and education resources to manage your farm or ranch operation, visit our website at cap.unl.edu. That's cap.unl.edu.